Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Sahana. I'm an architect and I've also done masters in landscape architecture. So I've worked on a couple of projects and couple of years, and currently I'm teaching spatial design at RV University.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sanjeevani Ayajit. I am the director at Symbiosis Institute of Design and also the dean of the Faculty of Architecture and Design at Symbiosis University. And it's great to see such a huge and interested crowd of aspirants as well as parents. And I look forward to a wonderful, vibrant interaction.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rahul Nair. I am heading product design department at MIT Institute of Design, Loni Kalbur campus. Talking about me, I am an hardcore product designer. Worked more than a decade in various industry in developing and designing and developing various product, including medical device. I think somebody was asking about a medical device domain. Yeah, that's it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Professor Babu. I'm a textile chemist, apparel technologist, and a sustainable fashion designer. I'm the Deputy Director of Academics of UPES University. I'm also an international champion in karate. Looking forward to you.
So, namaste everyone. Myself Aniket Sase. I'm basically from Ahmednagar. I am also a hardcore product designer. Currently, I am working as an assistant product designer in Wipro Lighting and Consumer Care. So, in previous experience, I have worked with cross-functional industries into the same way, and my most of the experience is into startups. And I'm also an alumni of MIT Institute of Design, Loni Kalbur, Pune. So I would love to hear some questions from you and love to answer your questions. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thanks a lot. So let us start by getting a little bit of introduction about the four institutes that are represented over here. So I would just request all of them one by one to just briefly take a minute or two to introduce what the institute is, what kind of courses you offer, and brief outline.
So as I told you, I'm from UPES. So UPES is University of Petroleum Energy and Studies. We started as Petroleum University. Now we have 8 different schools. And then the School of Design, we have 8 specializations like industrial design and communication design. We have our tagline as co-influencing creativity and technology. So what we believe is we emphasize more on technology as well as on creativity. We maintain a balance in that. And as far as our strength is concerned, I depend on my faculty team. That's our strength. Then on the buildings and on the machineries. Thank you.
Hi. I would like to talk about my institute, MIT Institute of Design, Loni Kalbur campus. Uh, our campus started in 2006, which is the first, one of the first private institute who took the challenge of teaching and training design, and the broke the monotony of the NID, IIT, and IASC, and I mean, of course, that's how the race started. Talking about my institute, we offer 5 different verticals, including industrial design, communication design, experience design, fashion design, and management. Within that, we have multiple departments, like product design, retail and exhibition design, interior furniture design. Like that, we have 13 different specialization within this 5 verticals. We offer both masters, bachelors, and PhD program across these disciplines. Also, we offer 9 bachelor program and 11 master programs. The idea or the philosophy in which we are teaching is like, I think most of you guys just completed your 12th, or a few of you completed architecture or engineering. So where you learned, okay, you just go into the classroom, attend the lecture, teacher will deliver something, and you write it down, refer some book, attend the exam, then you are done. That's not what we are doing it in MIT ID, where trust me, the teaching part, the traditional teaching, that that you already had is hardly 20 to 25% of your entire curriculum, and rest around 75 to 30% is more on project based learning, wherein we faculty won't teach you during that time. Instead, we will be part of your project. We sit with you guys and we mentor you. I think you attended Mandarani session where they start with a need and then going to the solutions. So we take you through all the stages, and year by year we will add complexity to it. And somebody was asking that medical device is a complex project or not, or that need to be done in masters. No, even the bachelor program students also doing medical devices even in the third year, and they won international and national awards also. And we believe in an educational ecosystem wherein it's not just designing or creating things in the classroom. We allow our students to take those design in next stage, like developing that product, prototype it in a way that it can be presented to any manufacturing company, wherein we have a supporting system called kriya, where our institute or where our university fund up to 12 lakhs for each project, as either individual or team, even for the faculties also. And the third step is that if we find such kind of a project is worth taking it into a venture, we have an adult incubation center, which is an government of India funded incubation center. And we are lucky that it's one of the very few institute in the country where we are having this adult incubation center, where there are many of our alumni develop their own venture, and now they're out of incubation and they are in market now. So we believe in the complete educational ecosystem. Start from you creating a student to be an good human being, till to support he or she to become a business entrepreneur. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
So I trust that all of you all belong to Pune. So the name of Symbiosis should not be not known to you. It is a very well-respected name where education is concerned. Last year, Symbiosis completed 50 years of its existence. And this is one of the only universities, I can say the only university which was begun by an educationist. And that is why academics and the rigor of education rise at the core of its values. And about Symbiosis Institute of Design, we were established in the year 2004, where we started off with a diploma program. And in 2006, when it came under the ambit of the university, the Symbiosis University, that is where the Bachelor of Design program was launched, and we started offering the Bachelor of Design degree. So this is a 4-year undergraduate course. And we offer this in 8 different specializations, spanning various fields like communication design, industrial design, fashion design, and fashion communication. Where it comes to the fashion domains, we are ranked second all over India. And the advantage of being at SID is that because we belong to the Symbiosis ecosystem, we are privy to all the various advancements that are happening across the entire university. We have a lot of sister institutes, all undergraduate, which are offering undergraduate programs in business, in media communication, in engineering, in law, or even in culinary arts, or in biotechnological sciences. So the advantage here is that you are able to learn across borders. So we offer certain courses which we call the inter-institute credit transfers, where you are, being a design student, you are able to choose a course from BBA, or you're able to choose a course from, say, even culinary arts or sports sciences, or from the Photography and Visual Arts Institute. So this kind of an interpermeability across disciplines is possible. Plus, the program structure of design is built in such a way that you also have opportunities to learn across disciplines within the institute also. So as suppose if I am a fashion design student, I am able to pick up electives from, say, user experience design, or say an animation film design. So I'm able to collaborate with my classmates. I'm able to sit together with students from different disciplines and be able to grow with them, build my knowledge systems with them, and be able to pursue careers or even further education in streams apart from whatever I graduated in. So I have had students who have graduated as animation designers who are working in banks, or you have students who have graduated as product designers who are now working in the user experience design field, or I have a user experience designer who's making films. So this way, because of this cross-cultural kind of an interaction between different students and between different streams and disciplines, we are able to build up a more holistic way by which a student is groomed, and the confidence that they build by the time they approach their fourth year is really commendable. Plus, I believe all the design institutes function in a similar way. You have a common foundation, and that is where you decide whether you want to remain in the stream that you got admitted in or whether you would like to change. So, a small change is possible. So not everybody is aware or is very sure about what they want to pursue. So, you do have that little bit of flexibility to switch from one discipline to another. And also, there is a lot of emphasis which is given on the crafts education. So you are able to undertake internships in the craft sector. You're able to undertake internships with industries. And often we find that industries are happy with the way students are working. They are given pre-placement offers. And we have a very strong placement cell as well. So thank you so much. And I look forward to interacting more with you all.
So we are representing RV University here. So we have been, it's a college that's 80 years old now. And the RVEI, the Education Trust, has been setting up a range of schools across Bangalore. And RV Engineering College, which is situated in South Bangalore, is where the RV University campus is set up now. We're about 2 years old. We've got 5 schools running here, which is the School of Law, Business, Liberal Arts, Economics, and School of Design. So under the School of Design, we've got 4 disciplines. The communication design, we've got spatial design, we've got UI UX, and industrial, like product design. So we've also got a master's course in UI UX, which is again 2 years. The interesting part about this whole structure is that we do collaborate a lot with the other schools, like the liberal arts and the law and business. We do have a system of minors where the students sort of cross engage and they sit in studios of other schools. Faculties from other schools come over to other departments to engage with students, and in that process there's a lot of interaction among students, where they sort of talk about what they're learning in class in other schools, and that really puts a very diverse sort of a culture to this studio itself. So even if a student, for example, takes any minor in the design discipline, we've seen how diverse the approach is because of the number of students that we have from the different schools. It's very different from how we deal with only design students. So that really sort of enhances the engagement, and also kind of to say that it's a very real life situation where students are out there dealing with several professionals, and that kind of engagement really helps to understand the ecosystem well. So that is something that we're working towards. And the infrastructure, we're sort of setting up a maker space. We're trying to build several things that students can engage with, and we're really laying emphasis on the fact that students sort of need to take that on them and sort of tell us what they want and sort of like feed that process in, and kind of helping them to facilitate that as well. And we also are trying to get them to engage with the festivals. Like we had the Pune Design Festival here. We have a Bangalore Design Week in Bangalore, where students of other design schools have been participating, and we'd sent students from our college as well to be a part of that, which was very interesting for them as well, to be part of that community, to be engaging with the public and putting out their work as well. So they did learn a lot, and we're kind of trying to build that exposure with the community. So yeah, thank you.
Well, I represent World Peace University's new school. I can say we have been rediscovering ourselves to deliver the professional training to designers. We're not just making designers, but professionals who would join industry and create value for industry. And I think WPU, we have got one batch going, we have been transforming into a state-of-the-art school which has got now about a lakh square feet facility with 42 labs and a pedagogy which is uh, transforming every year with technological changes to disrupt, right? So new, I can say our differentiator would be focusing on future, digital media, AI, blockchain, and 3D printing, for example. I myself, I'm a professional from 3D printing world after long years in design. So we exactly know what exactly industry needs. And so we are honing the skills in young, budding designers, more like mentors. Design, according to me, cannot be taught. It has to be a realization. So the learning method is always experiential. You know, we try to elicit what we want them to learn, and design thinking, as you know, starts with empathy. You know, putting yourself in other shoes. How to do it? It is very difficult. It is not easily done that way. So we have a lot of immersions, for example. So students should know what is life around, what is life in city, what is life in rural areas, how it is to be in a hospital. So we have a lot of immersions. These are called as rural immersions, industrial immersions, medical immersions, national immersions, and international immersions. So these will give them a world view and make them a complete professional. Besides whatever pedagogy we have, uh, I think the focus here would be more on making them a complete individual. I represent World Peace University, which is the only university in the world which teaches peace. You know, and I think it is also. I would like to correct my panelist. It is also started by Dr. Vishwanath Karat, who was a professor of COIP. We all know, and people say that if you cannot get into IITs, get into MIT. You know, I represent the same, group of institutions which started, many design schools, including MIT, ADT, at Loni. We have one at Alandi and one at Kothrood. Kothrood is I can say, a city center, which happens to be the now center of the entire institution with the founder sitting there. I think we have a lot of professionals who come in and provide their insights to students. Besides, we focus on transdisciplinary approach. We have law school, we have liberal arts, we have computer science department, we have robotics. So there is a course called collaborative design, wherein students from all these schools they collaborate together, putting their own knowledge. And a designer is typically an integrator who comes at the end, gives the form which is going to reach to the end consumer. So they're sensitized to forms, colors, and the latest technology. So it is about all about skill, hunar, and they will be able to stand on their own feet as entrepreneurs. We have a technology business incubator, which is going to give them seed funds. So we give every student an opportunity to work on, their own projects with 1 lakh rupee. What's more, deserving candidates will get scholarships. A scholarship will be completely reimbursement of the fees, not some part, but full. Okay. That's because of the vision of Dr. Vishwanath Karat. You know, I would love to discuss with you more, and you're most welcome to visit our center, which is in Kothrood and which is in the heart of Pune. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I think that's one advice that we all designers will also give, that if you talk to a lot of designers who are already in the profession here, they actually got that change when they actually visited an institute. The story same happened with me and maybe with other designers as well. So I would insist that you make it a point to visit the WPU campus, go to the Symbiosis campus, go to the Loni campus. If you are traveling to Bangalore, it doesn't. I think the campus is next to the metro stations, and that's what I heard. So it's very easy to reach the campus without worrying of the traffic of Bangalore. So you can reach there. Also, if you are going for a trip to Dehradun, you should make a visit. It's a beautiful campus in Dehradun. So go and visit the campus. The students will actually see the environment, and they will feel as if they get connected to it or not. Yeah. So now you can see, and further right now you may not have made a mental note or noted down, but all their stalls are there in the expo. They have kept a beautiful literature and forms and a lot of information about their courses, so you can collect more detailed information. And nowadays we are in a connected world, you can reach out to them. But this is a great opportunity to meet the leaders of those institute in person. uh, that's the chance we are kind of providing. I'll come to the professionals here. And maybe I'll start with Aniket. Can you just explain the journey that you have done so far? You explained briefly, but particularly connected to the various domains that you have worked. And I would like you to stress more upon working with startups.
Okay. So basically, I would like to start with my engineering career. Okay. So when I was in engineering, so uh, previously when I was in school, okay, so through that time I was very interested in hastakala subject, which is handmade crafts. Okay. And during that times only I got to know about the design field. Okay. And that is through newspaper articles and all. But unfortunately I didn't had that support from my family, because we also don't have idea about what design is. So I went to engineering. So when I got to the engineering, I already know about the MIT Institute of Design, Symbiosis Institute of Design. So as sir said that you should visit the campus. Okay. So while doing the engineering, okay, so I visited most of the design campuses, including IITs also. Okay. The first thing I observed is the education system, which is the most important thing for me. So what I was doing in engineering, and what students was doing in designing. Okay, so that was like a really fascinating for me. So I interacted with many people during that time, that how this particular field can help me. So even when I got into MIT, before that I was in Mahindra Composites. And I'm really thankful and grateful to Dr. Nachiket Thakur, because he was one of my inspiration, and he helped me a lot during that time to get to know about this field. And I still remember when I joined, so जो मेरा सैलरी था, so it wasn't a money, तो मुझे एक टाइम का लंच मिलता था. Okay. So I still remember that when I was telling my friends, okay, so my friends was asking, okay, you are in Mahindra, okay, so you should be get really well paid. So I was saying, no, okay, I'm getting paid in terms of only food, okay, and I was satisfied, okay, at that time. But I really work hard because I was really passionate about that, and then I got into MIT Institute of Design. I learned a lot because I came to the design institute with a very planned way. Okay. And I feel that is really important if you want to make your journey really successful, and that is also within a particular limited time period. So you should be a good strategist and planner also. After passing out from MIT Institute of Design in 2016, so my mom wasn't feeling well, so I did help my mom, okay, by staying at home. But at the same time, I know that I have to get back to the industry, and certainly I changed my mind at that time. So why not to start with my own? Okay, so I started my own startup called Creative Design. So again, this is a really interesting story, that there is a term called freelancing. Okay, so many of people, you know that. Okay, so what I did, instead of doing freelancing, I just created my own logo, I trademark it, and I didn't have my team. Okay, but I know that there are students from design colleges, okay, those wants to work on the projects. Okay, so unfortunately all those students become my team. Okay, So I started working with them on the project basis. For 1.5 year, I ran my startup, and clients like Force Marshall, then Asian Paints. Then I helped some startups also from scratch till the end. Okay, to become get into the market. So for the 1.5 year, it was a really good journey. Again, my parents really supported me at that time, because we already know that we are not financially that much stable. So my parents didn't know that, okay, so maybe there is no upcoming future, okay, maybe not certainly, but they told me, yes, you should take a experience that may help you. After that, I work with more than 2 to 3 startups. And as sir told me about the what about major experience from the startup, so it was like, uh, when you are working with the startup, okay, so there is always small team, okay. So when you are in a large scale company, okay, so you are assigned for a particular work, okay, but when you are in a startup, okay, so you are almost assigned with the four and five times of work, okay. So you have to take really great initiatives, okay, to get that company up, because when it comes to MNC, so those are all already settled, and you are helping them to enhance their brand more and more. But when you are at a startup level, okay, so they are really doing from the ground level, okay. So you are not just the employee, okay, but you are part of that particular team, okay. So uh, my major motive always was to not only about designing, since I am from a mechanical engineering background. So I got taught in a such a way that the product should not only be designed, okay, it should be executed as well, okay. So I always turn engineer to designer in a such a way. Though there are a lot of many up and downs in the startup culture, okay. uh, I'm not saying it's not for everyone else, but I can definitely say you have to struggle. You have to make some opportunities over there, okay. You have to be very careful while making decisions over there, okay, because there is a small team, so each and everyone knows, okay, what you are doing, okay. And the result are expected in a very short terms, okay, short term time span. So I just joined Wipro consumer care and lighting this year. So again, I would like to tell you, this whole journey was like 10 years journey was also part of my planning. So first like 5 to 6 years to work in a startup, so I can get a really good foundation, okay. And not to work as an employee, okay, that is the major part I would like to say, but to work as an entrepreneur, okay. So when I'm back to now in a corporate culture, so I am not again working as an employee, so I am again bringing that entrepreneur culture also same at the time. And I guess I'm happy
Yeah.
to corporate again. So let's see.
Great,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So the reason I pulled up the startup thing about you, everybody is talking about startups nowadays, and even government is very bullish and quite positive about the startups tomorrow creating numbers of jobs, and startups will need a lot of design intervention. So and designers actually can play multiple roles in a startup. That's why they are one of the most sought after people whom they employ. And working in a startup is not easy. In a big company you have a coffee machine, and in a startup you make coffee for the team. So there's a difference in that. So we've been seeing Aniket's work through many startups, so he's been doing good work. I'll move to Pushkar now. uh, uh, One of the reason to bring professionals here is to make you understand. You can, if I sow something into the future, you'll know that you might be able to find a pattern and see something like that happening to you. So Pushkar has will unfold his journey from being a engineer to studying design, then working at couple of companies, handling couple of domains, and now as an entrepreneur. So
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have spoken before. Design happened by chance to a lot of people in my generation, and the generation sitting here is fairly lucky. Design is being very visible, but it made a big difference to how I have thought about my career after I got into design. Traditional, I was as confused as anybody else, and my parents were as worried as you are probably in this crowd, and that's the reason I've probably got admission into veterinary and then architecture, attended for a week and then chose engineering. Safe bet. Chalo, engineer hoke nikal jayega, kar lega kuch. And halfway through engineering, I was like struggling a bit, thinking I'm not an R&D guy. What am I? I mean, I'm not going to do hardcore engineering either. So, mug karke hi to engineering pass kiya tha. To kya karne wala tha? So I got into marketing. Safe bet, gift of gap, gets you along. Tried selling a few stuff, and all along came a chance. You met some designers, and they changed your perspective. So from getting into a MBA college, I ended up getting into IDC, and thank God that was such a lucky. Things happen by serendipity. What I'm trying to say is the difference, and I think Mandar spoke probably in the most articulate way. I can't even come close to how design as an education is very different from anything that is more conventional. And I think that sets you up for a very important life skill. So as much as everybody is here to understand how design is a career skill and whether there is mein scope hai ki nahi, I think design, problem solving, design thinking, all of these buzzwords are as important a life skill these days, because it sets you up for a very important task to navigate the ambiguity that you're going to face along different things. Uh, I'm so glad when I read that the new education policy is thinking about putting design thinking courses into students' schools as young as 6th, 7th. So what questions that what is design thinking? Your kids are probably going to tell you, hey, I learned something about design thinking, and this is how we should apply to life. And we are going to make great observers out of them, because they're going to start observing problems. And what Yogesh mentioned, being the startup, if you have good problems and ideas are coming to you, you're probably going to have that itch. I have a great solution that the world needs to use, and let me build that one. And let's hope that things work along that way. I think I meandered along your question. I didn't get to the question at all, but
Yeah.
those
So
were
what we wanted to
thoughts.
know is you've
Yeah.
dabbled into a little bit of automotive styling.
Yeah.
Then you worked in healthcare, and now
Oh.
you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So
I'll just
these are three different things to do. So
okay.
and
So
the point to know is what are the skills that you learned during your design education, which is helping you here now?
okay. All of these things have happened again purely on the merit of serendipity. You just set yourself up for meeting right people at the right time. I was an extremely poor sketcher by industrial design standards. My sketching was purely pathetic and didn't even come close to what transportation designers require. And the marketing experience that I got as a career for 2 years before getting into the entrance, I think that came handy. I had Bajaj come for campus interview, and they asked me to draw a bike in the interview. And I draw a bike which is not by any chance close to a proportion what a bike is. It was a very long bike because I didn't know how to sketch a bike. But I think spontaneity helped, and I drew a person who was sleeping on the bike, saying that it's going so fast you can't sit straight. Helped me sell a concept, which probably was the genesis. Got into Bajaj, really honed my sketching skills. I think I owe a big thing to you met Pradeep in the morning. I learned sketching there. And while I was doing that, I'm a slightly impatient guy. I like to do many things at the same time. And transportation design is probably the most patient thing that you have to see. Once you sketch, your product is out after 2 or 3 years, and you're probably just working on small details every single time. It was kind of getting my impatience out all the time. I wanted to do new things. And down along came an opportunity to get into a fellowship program called Stanford Biodesign, which taught entrepreneurship for medical device innovation. It was a government of India idea, and we were amongst the first batch of people they experimented. They put together a team of one doctor, one designer, one engineer. Ideally, they wanted a fourth person to be a business person, which was very hard to get. So luckily, my batch had 2 designers. And we were set out to go out and observe the unmet needs of the healthcare domain in India. Our focus area was pediatrics. We came up with an idea, which is a running startup. And again, my impatience trickled me to say, okay, design to ban gaya, mere ko business to banana hai nahi, aage nikal jao, design karna hai. I got into freelance service, set up a studio, focused entirely on medical device design. And one of my Norwegian clients actually ended up acquiring us, and we started setting up their practice in India. Cross-functional design, a lot of these design schools have helped me when I was running these companies. I remember we were doing a product which was made entirely of specialty fabric, and there were no sewing machines that were available to stitch that fabric. It's the same fabric that is used for scuba diving. And I ended up at Symbiosis and Sanjeevani ma'am, and we said, hey, do you have this sewing machine? We are struggling to stitch this fabric. And their fashion design team came to my rescue to do a medical device that required textiles. So that's how cross-functional thinking was going on. And as I said, my first admission was veterinary, and I was observing problems. I'm a vegetarian. I had a dog which was having cancer. So ended up meeting somebody again serendipitously, and these guys came up with an innovative solution that allowed me to feed natural meats to my dog without getting my hands dirty or without getting my refrigerator smelly. So we kind of kept running along. Now, the story that I'm trying to tell over here is that it has always been chance meetings with people at such places like these, chance conversations over a coffee that have triggered new thoughts, new ideas. And that's just because we are not always a bunch of designers. We're talking to engineers, doctors, pet lovers, and these ideas are triggering thoughts. And if you know a process to the design thinking process, as everybody calls it, to validate whether your idea has risks and identify those risks early, probably you can say that you are a startup guy. And then probably the key is your impatience can be used to some degree of, like, it can be a virtue, as much as I've been called out badly for being impatient. But I think it's a great virtue because it allows me to think about new things all the time.
So, a designer's student's journey is literally about first 4 or 5 years to acquire skills, learn skills, hone your skills of maybe it is sketching, observing, writing. We have now considered writing as a very important skill for designers as well, because you have to convey your thoughts to people. So after you acquire, you kind of do it. So I just have one next question to the institutes. How do you select the students?
Okay, I'll take this
You
question.
can.
I think that is the most difficult thing to do, actually. And many times, design is more about thinking than sketching. Okay, the sketching comes as an externalization of your idea much later. So thinking comes first. So we tend to check their reasoning, how they're able to think, observe, and that is very important aspect when teaching also. The questioning, inquisitiveness, observation, and how they're able to think before trying to solve. That is most important first step. So we invariably have different rounds. One is entrance test, which will filter off many of the people in reasoning, logical reasoning, and in their construction, for example. And then we have, of course, do they have a history of some kind of mischievousness? Because everyone has three ego states. The parents, the adults, and the child. And child ego state is the most creative state. And many times children, because of their parents' compulsions, they would have become early adults and parents themselves, losing the creative self. So we check for the creative self. Is the child is enough? A child is, shameless, and it doesn't take any kind of, it will take everything coolly. And so they'll also connect dots, anything to anything. So we tend to check those aspects. Then of course they also come out with their portfolio. It is like first standard, you got a prize in sketching or painting, or you went to some olympiad and you got something. It is very important. Child always wants to have a pat on the back. Okay. And children, such children tend to do more things. And so I think we also look into their portfolio. What we call portfolio is nothing but, those sounds very big. It is nothing but, do they have any such earlier history of indulgence in activities which could be helpful to make them designers. Okay. basically designers have to be mischievous people, and of course we are all one. And one more thing is they have to be very passionate about what they want to do. They have to be very focused, and if they have confusion, well, I'm good, I can become a doctor, well, I can become an engineer also, I'm super brainy, I can become designer also, probably that candidate will get filtered off. We want that focus to be there, and sometimes it is done through series of exercises, and it is difficult actually to choose.
Great.
And we also have learning disability people have, when they want to have, even they have, so we also look at inclusiveness. If a candidate can be groomed, can they be trained, can there be mentored, these are all aspects which will also look at the other sides. So I'll
Maybe.
say,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a complex exercise. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think Guru sir has given a lot of points, but I think I would like to hear some very specific points of views. Yeah.
Sir has mentioned a lot of things that I think would be common to a lot of us. One thing that stands out for design aspirants is that when they make a decision to appear for a design entrance exam, I think there itself they have made their intention very clear that they want to become a designer. So often we find that it is the parents who need the conviction, who need to be convinced that design is also a field that you can consider, while children are much more aware about what is happening around the world, what are the different areas in which that they can study in, and they are more passionate and they have that conviction that they want to become designers. Second thing that I wanted to say is that when they come in for the entire admission process or the entrance process, um, the decision making that they display in whatever task that they perform. So usually you will find that design entrance tests have some kind of a situation test or a task that they have been assigned to do, and the students or the aspirants have to sit there and to perform that task and then be able to defend their decisions or be able to talk about their decisions, the logic behind their decisions, the thinking behind that, the reasons behind that, why they chose to do this task in a particular way. And that is sometimes which helps us to choose one candidate over the next. So the way you are thinking, how creatively you are able to address that situation, how creatively you are able to complete that task, that often becomes the way in which we tend to choose you over another person. So it is not just about how well you perform the task, it is also about why you did things that you did and how they logically blend into one another. So that is also something that makes a huge difference when it comes to choosing one person over the other. Also, we have found that a little bit of background study about what you want to do also helps in putting yourself above the others. So if you are aware of what the design field is, or if you can do some little bit of background reading about it, that also helps to mature your own thinking about what to expect out of a design school or what to expect out of your career in design. That also helps in clearing your thoughts and being able to articulate them better in when you are presenting yourself in front of the panel.
I think both of them left nothing for us to explain. Okay, I'll make it in a very simple way. So the question is about how we select the candidates. Okay, I think I will connect to one of the question with where one of our friend was asking that about PCMC and PCMB and all. Okay, so it's a thumb rule which parents can note down that any designer need a basic qualification. What I would like to say, it's nothing but PCME, nothing but passionate curiosity. Passionate is one quality that a designer needs. Second is a curiosity to learn, and the third one, a designer must be a methodical. It's not a random. And the third one is the fourth one, E, is nothing but the empathy part of it. So taking that into consideration, of course there is a very systematic process of selecting the student, where of course the first round is an entrance exam, then studio test, followed by an interview, then we evaluate the student based on all the three criteria, and then we publish the result. Of course the key part is the interview part. the last part where I don't know about the other institute, but the MIT ID Loni, we give most weightage to it, wherein based on this, the secret keyword that I told you, M's P, what is that? P, C, M, and E. The first thing what we are looking is, are you a good human? He or she is a good human, because only a good human can deliver a good design that can create an impact. I won't say good business, because good design or even the bad design can also create a business. So good impact is what we are looking. So being a good human is what we are looking. Second is how passionate you are. That must reflect on your portfolio. That's I won't I don't use the word portfolio because it's a very technical nowadays, but we would like to see in your work that you are doing from the childhood till now. We don't look you what you have done in last 2 years, where we went to some coaching center and did it. Of course it add value to your work, but what we are mostly looking is from the childhood what you did, that reflect your passionate thing. The third one is your learnability part, or are you a person whom we can train you, mold you? As I told in the initial discussion, that we don't teach you that the way the engineers are teaching. Of course that engineering teaching is very boring. 8 months I was an engineering teacher, long time back. Then I went into industry, then now I'm in designing, where we sit with each and every students, and then we train you, mold you, that okay beta, what is your interest, and accordingly we will try to train you. Because you cannot teach fish to climb in a tree, right? He want to be a designer in the world of other designers. So we would like to see where his strength and weaknesses are, and is he trainable or not. That's what we are looking. So basically there are many other factors, but basically these are the three factors that we would like to see while interview. There are 5 6 others, but I'm not discussing it now, maybe a secret. Yeah, thank you.
Shall I present a different view here?
That's the whole reason.
To be honest with you, actually students select the college. Because generally a student select 4 colleges first. And during this corona period, a student is attending almost 3 colleges online simultaneously. And then he picks one college. What the student looks at something different. And what we look is something different. But we all, so that is where we call ourselves as facilitators. We are not teachers. Because in design, we become your facilitators. And we facilitate the student to realize their game. And what we look for is originality. As long as you're original, we take you. And we look for your skills. Definitely. What everything they have observed, we look for it. Thank you.
Anything you want to add?
So the primary thing that we sort of like have observed is that a lot of students have done their fair share of reading, which is very interesting. That, I mean, maybe it's coming from parents, maybe they've done their work, and it also does feed into their understanding of each discipline and each course. And what is also important is that let that not consolidate, let that not be this is what I know and that's what it is. It would be easier to sort of allow yourself to know it in the future and not be so hard and fast on that. That is something that I mean, students can sort of explore and like be open to it. You may know something, but it may change, so allow yourself to understand that. And the second thing is, I think a lot of students who applied, they did have a sense of, you know, they started observing early. They, I mean, we'd ask them things about what they'd seen and things like that, and they did have that sensibility of a designer. And it was nice to see that certain traits are being shown, because the exposure is increasing, and what they see and observe and what they're traveling, all of this kind of feeds into it. So I think as parents, we can probably allow them to do that, like be able to travel more, allow them the space to do something else that can feed into their thinking. Yeah.
Thanks. I think I'll open this floor for more questions from parents and the students. So anybody has questions which, can you give the mic to her?
Okay, so when you tell us about the scope that will be exposed to when we come to a certain university, like different kinds of people from different places, different courses, there's a lot. So after some time, when I feel like, okay, I want to explore more, I want to go out. So maybe I feel like maybe I should explore some international universities or something. So like when you guys have tie-ups, like after 2 years you can go to a different country and learn in that university, or after a 3 year you go for the last year. So like what difference would it make for if a child from the same batch goes outside and learns, and if the child who stays in the university?
Very interesting question. So I think most of the universities have international exchange programs, and it's a very good question that you have asked. How does it differ? Some students go for the exchange program, some stay back. How does it matter and impact?
See, of course, it will impact a lot. Again, it depend on individual students also. See, instead of I am advertising what my institute is, I'll tell you what you as a designer or aspiring designer should be. I think Pushkar was talking about it's more about learning from each other. Okay, even in our institute, we had two programs where there is an exchange program. One student go for 6 months to an international university and then come back. The sixth semester is what they have dedicated for, and second is that after second year, the third year and fourth year, they are in some other institute. That's called a twinning program. Okay, the bottom line is, uh, of course, that individual get a different exposure, but the thing is that what others learn from them most, it's a most important thing, because designing doesn't mean that you design, you deliver, you get money. No, what we are telling is we collaboratively design, we collaboratively develop, and we collaboratively made money. So that culture of we is developed even within the institute. For example, if you are going abroad for 6 months and coming back, we as a faculty make sure you deliver at least 1 hour seminar to the whole batch, and seeing what you have done and what you have seen, and they can talk to you and understand and learn from you that okay, this is what you have done. On the other hand, you miss one semester with our institute, right? And wherein you can ask the students or even the faculty that what I missed, and you can learn from them. So its answer is like, it's there is no straight answer whether you get benefit or not, but it's something like if you are going it, you make sure that everybody will get benefit out of it. That's a culture you being a designer need to develop. I hope I answer your question.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, even when you sit in, when if you're in school and you're sitting in your class, the moment you sit in another class, the environment is different, the cohort is different, everything that you come across is different, though the education pattern remains the same. So these experiences are what eventually counts towards you, and every institute of design, or any institute, for that matter, will have a particular way in which they function, right? So when you are used to this kind of a way of functioning, and when you move into another classroom or another institute altogether, another city, another country, imagine the amount of influence that you will be, surrounded with, not just in terms of the learning or the pedagogy or the way you might be in a class which has a mixture of students of all kinds of ethnicities. So just imagine the amount of learning you will get even outside the classroom, right? So inside the classroom you will learn what you're there to learn, but even apart from that, you will learn about different cultures, you learn about different perspectives, about different contexts, and the learning is so much more wholesome.
And even culture also.
I think the biggest thing that can be felt is confidence. Okay, you're coping with everything, taking your flight, getting down, searching where to go, talking to people, everything is a learning. And what you become, that's a way of learning, coping with the world, talking to people, And as others have told, how to collaborate also, you get confidence, which is something design schools cannot teach just by with whatever things we give, you know. So these collaborations also help you how to learning to learn, and learning different methods, learning where you're learning, and learning from others in other formats. I think it is going to open up a worldview which is going to make you not a Kupa Manduk. What they say, Kupa Manduk is a well's frog. Once it goes to the sea, it gets lost. So I think that's where it helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Anyone else has a question? Yeah. Sure.
Hi. This question is for practicing professionals. So, a designer would work in a specific domain, right? And it's a creative field, so one is expected to be innovative, coming up with new ideas all the time. So, I believe some point down the line, one reaches might be reaching a stage where one runs out of ideas, the reservoir runs dry. So, does that happen typically? How long one travels before one reaches there, and how do people survive after that?
I think it happens more often than you would imagine, especially when you are doing the same thing. Like, for example, let's take a case of a transportation designer. He's sketching motorcycles. How many shapes of motorcycles will you make? There will become a saturation point. So the thing is, how do you refresh and come back with new ideas? What are you exposing yourself to outside the motorcycle world that is influencing how you will make the next sketch? So everybody, I think designers eventually figure out their own mechanisms of finding new ideas. And that's why I think what I've learned is a lot of designers I've seen read a lot. They are watching a lot of films. They are watching a lot of comics. Uh, they're looking at cross-cultural exchanges, and I think inspirations are hidden somewhere around there. So there do come blocks. I will not deny that at all. And some blocks are longer than others, but I think eventually somebody will help you out.
Yes, definitely what Pushkar said is right. I guess when you become a designer, I feel it's all about possibilities that you create, and sometimes there becomes a block in your head. Okay, so I'm not getting ideas. Okay, so I'm not becoming creative. Okay, and we get frustrated many times. Okay, so uh, what we generally do, okay, so it's not like a common process, but to get out of it, we search for some inspirations, to meet people, to go out. Okay, so maybe sitting at a lakeside, okay, spend some good time with yourself. Okay, that is also important. So I guess there is nothing I feel which is called a creativity loss. So it's just a temporary phase. Okay, so sometimes you get stressed out. Okay, so I'm not getting a particular result. Okay, so I guess you have to maybe chilled out for the some time. Okay, and things will be figured out. Okay, in the long run. That's I feel.
My right as a professional for 34 years before joining academics, I would like to say that a designer will never run out of ideas. Actually, they're trained like that. You know, and also many times constraints uh, are going to play a role in getting to an idea. Time constraints, constraints on finances, constraint that you've been told last minute. All these are constraints actually, and you will appreciate that these constraints, in fact, they channelize your thinking. Because why this happens is probably because you have been incubating for a very long time. For Newton, the apple fell on his head, not in one single day. He could discover gravity. Probably it was falling many times. You know, that was actually getting incubated. And God blesses the incubated, prepared mind. You know, and so I think designers have this. Many times it comes again and again. And I think they're also exposed to some of the techniques, how to unlearn and relearn. Designer is always open to criticism all the time. I think designers are the most criticized lot of the professionals. Others cannot, because design at some point is a common sense, which is so uncommon, right? And so I think designers, they bounce back, and that is very important. Probably in selection, we look at that also as a aspect, which whether they're positive to get back. If they're posed with a constraint, how they come out of that. So it's a problem solving activity. So idea becoming saturated also is a problem which they have to come out of. And there are techniques. I don't think I ever get a nice poetry to write when I'm on the serene waters of something, good breeze and all. If you're a writer, if you're a poet, and you're paid for it, and you have to write all the time, it doesn't move. No, my mood is not there. I will not work. It is not going to be there. So it is going to come. So constraints, theory of constraints, you should study. It is very important. Thank you.
Any
Thank you.
more questions? You have?
Hi, so this is a question to the institutes. From an institute point of view, do you think students who go to a design coaching class, it gives them an edge in the selection process? Because I think this is a question in on the minds of a lot of parents and students who are in the 11th, 12th standards, worried, preparing for these entrance exams. So do you think it gives them an edge if they do attend a coaching class?
Very, very apt question.
I would like to say yes and no. See, reason is the passionate people, as I told, the passion, curiosity, and all. The people who have that passion and curiosity go to coaching center to understand how and in a better way they can present it. That we can clearly see from their presentation during the interview. Second category of a people that, okay, my friend is going, oh, Sharma Uncle's is my daughter is going in design, let me also go into that. I don't have any idea about what design is. Okay, it's now I'm in 12th 11th standard, now I have one more year, go to coaching center, build portfolio and learn something XYZ. I mean, interact with some of the professionals and then cracking the DAT exam or whatever entrance exams are. Then the moment they appear into the interview, as I told, the three mantras, there they may fail, because most of that apart from the industrial people, most of the people who are from the academic field, they are also in designers. Myself spent almost more than a decade in industry, so we know what is that quality needed for a person to become or a design student. So answer to you is yes and no, depend on who is going to coaching center and coming to us. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So very rightly said that it's yes and no. The design coaching classes will give you some kind of a finish in your work, in the way your hand moves, in the way you sketch. And when we come across these students, we often find that the work is very standardized, right? So we see, one after the other, everybody's portfolio is looking, it's very similar to each other. So for us, we have to look for that one bit of originality, that one thing that sets you different. So I would say that, if you all are planning to put your children into these coaching classes, keep that as a medium and not as the end. Okay, so keep it as some way that you can hone your skills, you can train yourself, but do not lose yourself, because I think, eventually this is going to go the same way as the IIT coachings have gone. So let us not go that way. Let us try to keep our own individuality, our own creativity, our own originality alive when we are presenting our work.
I speak the fact. Everyone speaks the fact, but I speak it very naked. All right. Everyone is thinking about how to enter into that institute. Will the institute select me or not? right? Be empowered. It's you, your future. You select the institute. What are the bases you are going to select the institute? Coaching center will definitely, help you. Definitely, every design student who has registered in the coaching center, you will get at least 10 to 11 calls from various institutes. And everyone will be telling their specialty. Sitting here, UPES will also call you. Let's speak the naked truth. But you are the one who have to select the university. Be empowered, feel empowered. Select the right institute based on your specialization. There is no one design institute which is best for all specializations. It may be good for one specialization, not for all specializations. So select the specialization and select the university accordingly. This is my suggestion to you as a student. Be empowered because it is your future. Check for whether that institute matches you. Than the institute telling you meet me. That will settle your future better. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Actually, we have one interesting professional here, Shreya. Can you just come here for a minute?
Can I respond to the?
Yeah, you can carry on. I've just called her, so.
Okay. Uh, so I think the question was about coaching class or not for getting into design field. I think there is no shame actually getting oriented and honed to make you known what is expected out of design schools are looking when they are picking up, while students also select, institutes are also selecting students. There are two things here. I think it's very important that students get orientation, and like IAS officers are getting trained for their interviews and for their exams. IITians are getting trained. What is wrong in designers getting trained? But there are challenges institutes have. They have to pick up the right people. So when we see repetition of in the portfolio, we know it is a copy. So novelty. Now even that is being taught. So how to, in a time of deep fakes, it is very hard to find. But I think that orientation is very important. If a novice comes and attends, he doesn't know what it will be a general knowledge. Probably they may not do well. So to your question, it helps. It helps actually. Yes. Thank you.
So we have one more professional which I have invited to join us. So we actually had changed the little format of the our discussion. So she came in at her slot. So I've invited her. Shreya is a graphic designer, and I would just request Shreya to introduce herself and also talk about the work that she's doing.
Hi everyone. My name is Shreya Chandorkar. I run a small graphic design studio called Out and Out Design, which has been on for 5 years now. And the interesting story is the idea of starting the studio came out in our room at MIT ID when we were discussing what we want to do or where we want to apply. And me being a born and brought up Punekar did not want to leave the city. So we decided to do something on our own. And it was 3 of us who started this journey. And it's been going great since then. Can take it ahead.
Can I explain a bit? Because the reason to get independent professionals here is, see, design is consumed as a service or as a skill by large industries. You've heard about automotive companies taking design, consumer companies taking design, but there are a lot of professionals who run their own practice. So they're not slotted into that they'll only do work for refrigerators for that matter, but they can do multiple things. So the reason to call independent practicing professional is what kind of work do you get, and what's the process of getting a work, and how do you manage that work and deliver the work? So there are life skills required to get it. So how do you get them?
When we started off, like I said, we were a team of 3 people who were on ground looking for work, talking to people, telling us how where we have graduated from, where our work stands, and it's been a learning process. I'm still learning. There was a lot to unlearn from what when you're working in a when you're doing a project in a design institute, you're not really applying it in a more professional zone. So you're still very protected in that terms, where your faculty guides you and will direct you if something is going wrong. But when you are hands on the ground doing this to deliver it to a client, you learn at every step, you learn at every feedback, and there are times when you have to unlearn a few things and redo them because it's coming out the way the client wants it to. And even after being in this for 5 years now, there are still new things that I get to learn about this profession. So you never stop learning at any age. It's always something new that you will discover. Yes, there comes a point. I think you guys answered a question about how your creativity block may make you question what profession you have picked, and that happens to a lot of us. I think Pushkar also mentioned that talking to people and interacting with people helps. So that's what it is. If you plan to do this, or if you plan to eventually um, want to have your own agency, firm, or studio, um, make make your social circles wider. Don't hesitate in getting feedback from your peers and your colleagues, even in your college. We as students, I mean, me as a former student, we were all scared to show our work and actually discuss it with people. And, oh, is this good enough? Am I good enough? Am I the best in class? Am I not the best in class? But the more you show your work without hesitation to people, you will not understand where you're lacking, or what can be made better, or what can be communicated better to other people. So yes, I hope I've answered your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, thanks. So 2 points that you mentioned about is learning and unlearning. That's actually inbuilt into the pedagogy or the way design institutes teach, and also getting feedback, because there's nothing right. Because if we design something for one company, it may not be the same solution for the other company, because the context of their businesses is different, the decision makers are different. So uh, design actually helps you to do this very actively, and once it gets ingrained into your thinking, then no matter somebody comes and says kharab kiya hua hai, you take that feedback to improve on the next time when you get a chance to do it. So there is nothing right and wrong, but you make choices, and that's how everybody grows.
Just
So
a quick add up to what you just said. When I was in MIT ID, we had a professor who had told us that never marry your design. What that does is you fall in love with it so much that if somebody gives you a bad feedback, you are not ready to take that as in a positive way to improve yourself. You rather feel that, oh no, this person doesn't understand what I'm trying to communicate. But as designers, we are catering to the audience. We are not designing for ourselves, we are designing for the people, to make life easier for everybody else, right? So yeah, I think that would be, don't marry your design.
yeah, that's of course for each and every student who goes out, does the design, and then he'll decide whether to marry it or not. So but that's a good thing. So I think still the floor is open for any questions. I think, yeah, we can take for-
Industry as well as academic. What is the scope? I mean, what is the percentage of jobs available for product design? Like, placements, like in terms of number of students being absorbed and number of placements that are available. Because my daughter is in the last year of product design,
I think I am the
particularly
scapegoat.
with Pune, for example.
Okay, being a faculty in product design and heading this department, I would like to say, see, uh, I think most of the parents, any parents from engineering background, okay, you might be knowing there are only two disciplines in engineering. One is mechanical engineering, other is non-mechanical engineering. That's what we used to tell. The reason why I'm saying is non-mechanical engineering can go only into their streams, but mechanical engineering are or they are trained in such a way that I'm not saying go into different professions, but they are willing to be in the mechanical and taken up job from the other discipline. For example, they can take up a project even in the computer science, but still staying in the mechanical engineering domain. For example, developing CAD models, or even developing the fluid system for that software. Even they are mechanical engineer, they are in the mechanical engineering, but as a profession, they are in the other domain. So like that, I would like to say, I'm not saying product designer, non-product design, because it will be offense for you. Sorry. See, being a product designer, it's not like that. They are a hardcore product designer. They are trained to be hardcore product designers. I mean, throughout the curriculum. The best part of a product designer is, I think we have one product designer there, Satya. Hi. He's been awarded from, he got award from the Prime Minister of India for one of his classroom project that he did. He's an entrepreneur also. Good to see you. See, the product designers, the best quality is that they are trained in such a way that they can taken up not only in product design, any field related to product design. Even for example, the packaging design, it's a kind of a marriage between a graphic designer and a product designer. We are willing to take up that challenge. Yesterday, I think you missed that event where we had ADI award ceremony, wherein packaging designs award winning session was there. Third, second, and first position was won by product design students. Other stream was lifestyle product design, won by hardcore product design students. Social innovation, wherein we may or may not develop a product, but we design system and service associated, wherein we can also involve product into it, but delivering a solution to the community. Where yesterday we won an award. I think Satya, he is into he developed a product and created a social impact there. So answer to you is that, of course, due to COVID, there is a crunch of opening right now. But if you look into the future opening market, wherein our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, and he is promoting for new startup and new company to develop things in-house. When we say developing or manufacturing things in-house, that means we Indians are also responsible for design. When we say anything related to manufacturing where there is a tangible product, of course the product designers are the key responsible person. Of course there are multiple streams within the product design, like somebody was talking about medical device. Even I would like to say transportation design is one or the other way we are also part of it. So when you say product, it's not the product just a product, anything which is tangible, even the chair which you are sitting or the space that you are experiencing, it's part of a product design. So don't worry about it. You are in a product design doesn't mean that you will be working only on the product design. Anything which associated with the product design, the product designers are trained to take up that challenge and can do it.
Yeah, my question, I mean, my question is about the placements, So like, I mean, who will hire these people? So
I'll answer that slightly differently.
and this is a very big concern as a father.
Totally
is
understand.
my daughter is in last year of product design, and we are looking for some solution.
Okay. So I'll answer that directly.
Yes.
Somebody will hire you.
Yes.
Okay. That is the short answer. I'll give you a slightly longer, winding answer, very similar to what Rahul had to say. By nature, design is such a fluid profession that what you will study and get a degree for may not be what you will be doing 2 years hence. That's a given. Like there are so many people here who started off their careers as product designers or got at least a degree in product design, but are probably doing something which is related to design, but traditionally may not get classified as product design. Does that mean that they've stopped doing product design? It's a gray zone over there. Because design and technology and science, I mean, you have heard about everything is mingling so closely now that product designers are designing financial services. Are they trained to do that? Probably not. But that critical thinking, the basis of all design streams that anybody will learn, serves you as a good, foundation plate to adapt, mold, and evolve. So that's the longer winding answer. So your hireability is not your degree, it's about where you are applying yourself.
I would like to add answer to your question. So in a very early stage, I understood that okay, so you are following a passion, okay, so you expect to get a job, okay, but if you don't get, then what, okay? So I feel you always keep a backup plan, okay, and what I feel, what will be the backup plan? So I'm not saying you should leave your field, okay, or do something else, okay. So you should find opportunities within the field as well. So I'm telling out from my experience, like the way I have worked in last 10 years. Okay, so I have kept a one full-time job all the time and to pursue my other passions also. So like I do design mentoring also. I'm a professional paper artist also. So see again, I'm playing within my area only. So I'm also a product designer. Okay, even I did also lost the job. Okay, during the COVID, but even after losing the job, I was doing multiple things. Okay, because in previous time I have connected with many people. I got contacted with many people, and that connections helped me to do some freelancing projects and all. Okay, so again, it's a really practical situation that maybe the COVID was there, it may be okay tomorrow also, okay. So be a multifunctional, okay, because that is the need of an hour, which I will say. Don't be depend on only one thing, okay. So if you're in a product design, see what all other opportunities are available around the product design as well, okay. So that will always keep you up. And yeah, that's what.
So more thing. There is a suggestion that you shift over to UI UX.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there are many more opportunities nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For product design, because I feel like they are my family. So I like to take care of all product designers. Firstly, we are hiring all times. Okay. Product designers are always welcomed in my company. So
Based in Pune?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can please ask your daughter to apply.
Yeah.
Firstly. So let's put that aside.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
Second, see, you have to understand you're looking at it like a father who's looking for an opportunity for his daughter to be placed somewhere, right? But if you get into your daughter's shoes, she is thinking of a marriage in her head of what she likes and what's out there. Okay. It's not like an engineering job that you can join any company and start from tomorrow. When she goes and joins something, she has to, like when we hire, we see what is the match between the person and the job. And that core understanding of match has to happen before we even see the CV. For example, if I have a styling who's styling my shoes, the person has to have the basics of styling within them to start styling shoes for me before I see the CV. Or if you're working on a last design where, somebody has to have like a German mindset to get the measurements right and get the fit right. So the core technical person, even in product design, I would split it into 50 things before hiring. So first, I think there needs some counseling on what does she want to do, because there might be many opportunities. Everybody spoke about anecdotal things. I'll talk about facts. There is a subset of like designers are less in supply and there are more jobs. Either you are confined to a geography like Pune, where it becomes a limitation. If you go to Bangalore as a product designer, see, core skill set of a product designer is problem solving. That's the core. Then you can apply this problem solving to any other field or aspect. And then you have to ask this question to your daughter, that which part or which scope does she want to solve problems in? And that's how you can sort of divide where she wants to apply and where she wants to get in. So we, on a weekly basis, we get 5 applications of people who are really passionate about shoes. And then it becomes very easy for us to see, okay, can we give this guy 2 months of work? Like, for example, Aniket's younger brother has worked with me in my team. And he was actually into CAD. He was not a designer. And he worked with us. And I told him, I have no job for you. Then he made something in shoes and he sent it to me. We had no opening for him, and we hired him. And he was hired with us for 12 months, and he actually came down to one of the best resources we had. And then he understood what design is, and he's gone to a design school now, and he's studying in the same school I went to, and he's pursuing his master's. And the door is always open for him to come and join us back, because we know he's passionate about what we are building. So the alignment, especially in design jobs, these are very specific fields. So you'll have to find your alignment, and you'll have to start somewhere within that alignment. So for example, if she has things to do in fashion, right? Or she has things to do in, let's say, what Godrej makes furniture, and she's really aligned. So she'll have to push and get into somewhere, like an internship. Like he said, I started working for free because I wanted to be in that domain. And then just start building from there. And once you start building from there, many doors will open. It's not like there are no jobs.
But I mean, what I'm asking, and what I'm appealing basically is that there should be a database or resources. Like, I mean, how many companies are there? How many people, places, opportunities are there? Where are the placements of such students can take place? So all that is very essential. And some mentoring from the institute.
I think institutes do a lot of support in getting companies into the campus. And I think that activity will now start. January, February, they'll start the activities. The students have to prepare their portfolios. They also have to prepare a portfolio which shows their strengths, so that the company can help, the colleges can help them to have a right match, right? So all those activities all the institutes are doing it very actively.
Yeah, there is one thing. And secondly, in the absence of that, then think about going into the whole PG, just because nothing is available for them or something like that.
I would like to I would like to add here. I think when companies come, there is a kind of a matchmaking that happens. After the students complete, companies come. They don't recruit in the first run. They recruit for internship. Okay. I've gone, for example, from Crompton Greaves, I used to go to NID to pick up people. It was not a job offer, but an offer of internship.
Yeah.
During the internship, there is something like a dating happens. They both understand whether I can work with this company or not. Our company also looks what is that in me to have this person and all. So I think this kind of support is always given by institutes. So there is a separate department for placement and internships. And not only that, just exposure also. Exposure, like people can go and go for immersion and come back. So many times it is 2 months, 4 months, sometimes a capstone project. They do their project at the industry. So they continue that journey, with the industry. So that's one aspect of it. The second one, many of them have already made up their minds. They want to go for masters abroad or elsewhere. I mean, they want to go from probably a private institute to a IIT like institute, for premier institutes. They will prepare for that and go. Some of them have a parental this thing entrepreneurship journey. They take forward those journey. They'll become businessmen, and they have it in their blood. And some of them will become, And I think 80% of them, parents especially, are worried about jobs. And I should really share with you what I heard from Pradyumna Vyas. He was in our campus about a couple of weeks ago. He told many designers don't get not heard, because of the mediocrity. There is no place for mediocrity in design. So mediocrity, suppose we are hearing about him meeting Modi and getting an award, is because he's the top man. That's why we are hearing from him. So that's very important for every student of design, whatever stream they are. If they're settling for a mediocrity, then I don't think industry is looking for them. That should be made very clear. While every effort will go to make them the best, but you can see the government institutions have 20 or 10 seats, and there is a mad rush for private institutes. where the faculty to student ratio becomes big, and the individual, particularly, you need to understand this design is something like, they have to experience themselves in order to come out with. If they don't, probably industries don't pick them up. It is not their fault. And of course, we need to educate parents on this. We need to educate students on this. We need to even educate India Inc. about design. Many design companies know about design value. That's why they're called design companies, design-led companies. For example, like Titan. But by and large, India Inc. is very sluggish in looking at design even today. I don't know. I can make this statement because they're still not bullish about design, and I feel design is a value creator. Good design is good business. This is a constant this thing which goes on, educating India Inc. about the value of design.
Yeah. Any more further questions that we have? I think we can take a question. I think then we can close the session after that.
So I have two questions. The first one is for all the institutes. What all companies come for the campus interviews in the campus? And second is, what is the percentage of campus selection?
No, no. Is Nachiket Thakur is the director of MIT Institute of Design, Loni.
Yeah, so some credibility, so I can tell you with numbers. So first of all, please don't be under the impression that 100% placements will happen. Okay, that's not true.
Yeah.
I'm talking about MIT ID. The reason being that 50% of the bachelor students don't want to take up a job immediately after they complete their bachelor's. So the eligible candidates are 50% of whatever the number. Of them, 25 to 30% of the top slot of students get good jobs. That, let's be very upbeat and straightforward on that. And whatever they do, there's many people who take up their own ventures. So there are a couple of them in this audience also, if they have, after graduating, they started their own. So that was what Yogesh started off with as a startup thing. And about companies coming in, you name the companies, they come to the institutes because they also want variety. So that's why it's not the case कि Symbiosis में कम आएंगे, MIT में ज़्यादा आएंगे, कोथरूड में यही slab के आएंगे, ऐसे कुछ नहीं है. So every company wants to have variety. They go to all our institutes without any prejudice. So they also want that. So every company goes everywhere because they are also in the need of raw talent in different domains. So don't be so much worried about what will happen after 4 years because 50% of you will not know what they will be doing. They will not be joining any company. If that answers the question.
May I request you to name a few?
Okay.
Companies? Yeah.
So IT is Accenture, Barclays. You name the IT companies. They're there. Wipro, Infosys of the world, Microsoft. Accenture took 200 students from across different schools at a one process of recruitment. Okay, so that's IT side of things. Then there are Mahindras, Tatas, BMWs of the world. You name the auto companies, they are here. Wipro, where Aniket is working. So Wipro is a very good recruiter for product design. Tata Elxsi, then furniture companies, retail companies, advertising companies. So everywhere. So it's not a one-off activity of recruiting people in a particular company. Every company wants this as a domain.
Great. So one last question. Actually, this was asked by this gentleman sitting over there, and it was not answered, I think. I think he mentioned that we heard a lot about UI UX design. There's a lot of scope in UI UX, right, in India as well as in abroad.
Correct.
So is that like that's something which?
Sir, may I know which field do you belong to?
I'm a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
I work for an automotive industry.
So 98 batch, 2000 batch.
98 exactly.
Good, wonderful. So in 98, what was the trend in your mechanical engineering discipline? what are maximum classmates doing today? So 50% would have joined IT because that was a Y2K syndrome period, correct? So you do whatever engineering, 75% were going in IT. So you do whatever design discipline, maximum people are going in UX today. That is the
answer in short.
yeah, that is the status today.
That's a reality because
Okay.
that entire industry has a huge capacity to absorb people with skills of a certain nature, which only designers are trained into.
I heard from one of my friends who is a user experience designer in US. He says, I learned human machine computer interface, never worked with physical products. Now physical products and digital products are, representing the same thing, to domain in the metaverse and all. He suffers that he doesn't get that physicality side, and he says his product design colleagues are doing better, in UI UX. And I think UI UX is an approach. Long time ago, we learned as a visual ergonomics, user interface design, human machine interface. Now there are new things which are coming. Human robots interface are coming. Human medical device things are coming. IIoT, IMOT, all those things, coming. So I think what I can say, UI UX, while it is a Y2K right now, same syndrome, but I think they're also looking at diversity there, and many are able to vouch for it, that product designers who have done physical side of it, they're able to design much better. I think that's where we should not have any prejudice. Thank you.
Can you give the mic there? Man, can you repeat the question so that the entire audience also can hear?
Okay, sir. So right from starting, everybody's talking about creativity, passion. Of course, that's important for design. But as a parent, I would also like to talk about financial side. So as a parent, we had to put a lot of for making my daughter son a designer. It is little less than medical, but it is much larger than engineering field. So we come to know there is lot of scope. So we also want to ask, is there really that much return on the investment?
Pertinent question, which probably comes towards the end, and let's see how we can answer it.
You have a good ROI as far as the field is concerned. I have a humble submission to all the parents. We always ask to the university at the end of the day, what is the ROI my child will get? But hardly we find parents following up with the university from the first semester till the 8th semester. What is the progress of my kid? And at the 8th semester, every parent wants their child with the highest ROI. I'm really sorry for this. It's a humble submission. I'm also a parent. My daughter is doing engineering. It's my submission that let us have a follow-up of that. Definitely ROI will be higher. And the industry is capable of paying it. And it is worthy.
Also, there is a fact of reality, let us all face it, that not all fields of design will give you the same financial returns as each other. So there will be some, like we talked about the UI UX, this is the field which everybody is turning to right now. And all these big companies are focusing their energies on developing that side of the business. And that is where a lot of the placement opportunities are coming up and the money is also coming up. While there are certain fields, like for example, if you look at fashion design, there is such a huge number of fashion design graduates that are that are being produced every year, that it is again a serious misbalance of supply versus demand. So those are the areas where you will not get the kind of financials as you would get in other fields. But of course, it depends upon what you are interested in doing. Okay, so if you want to, start off on your own and, build your own brand, of course the financials will be so much better than what a regular working person will be. So it really depends upon what you want to do and what your interest lies in. And yes, I mean, that is how it should pan out for you.
Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of answering a couple of questions that were asked. I mean, this is kind of just tying up my answer right now. So we talked about like job opportunities. We talked about how students can approach like looking at their career after they graduate. I think what's very important is that we kind of look at it from a perspective that somebody wants us and we want to find that somebody, but then we rarely think of ourselves as potential people who can really fit in somewhere and find our place. Because I think I'm saying this from a very personal experience, because during COVID, I just finished, I graduated, and I was kind of looking out for companies, I mean firms to hire me. And at that point I realized, I mean, I finished architecture and I did landscape architecture, and that's putting me in a niche where there are very like limited landscape firms. And from the perspective of a fresh graduate, I was kind of reconsidering, should I be doing architecture all over again, or should I like step into landscape? And at that point I realized that I did this little exercise, and it's very important because like these mind blocks and everything we talked about, you kind of get into that like your shallowest point, and then you realize, what am I doing wrong here? And then I realized that I am potential, I have my own potentials, and I want to put it out there, and I want to find places where I can question something and then put myself there in the position of saying that, look, you are an interdisciplinary firm, and I see that you have a lot of architects in your firm, but you don't have the versatility of having different mindsets at your place. So can I offer to do that for you? And that's exactly how they had an opening for me. And I went in, they said, we want to start a landscape department, can you be the head of it? So I kind of realized that we should stop like seeking jobs like we do right now, because I think we need to find our roles in the society to play. And I think it would require some exercise where we kind of like reach out to people, we network, and we understand it from a very fundamental point of view. Why are we doing this course? We don't want to be a commodity. We don't want to sell ourselves in the market and say that, yeah, look, take me somewhere, pay me. That's not what we want to do. Like ethically, I think like we can just sort of fundamentally shift how we approach jobs, and then things can change. So many opportunities can turn out.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
Giri.
answer it in a very different way. See, I don't know. I mean, it's for all most of the parents. We are worried about your kids' placement, and yes, of course, it need to be. So the way, ma'am, I'm sorry if I'm offending you. First of all, see, don't look on educational expenses as an investment for a return to your family. Please don't. My parents didn't. What they told was, of course, they spent for my engineering, for my bachelor of engineering, and once I'm done, they said that now you are your own. We are not expecting not even a single paisa to you to bring to my family. Now you earn, you have your own life. See, the moment you are putting pressure on the kid, saying that where is an ROI, how much you got, everything X, Y, Z, you are unnecessarily putting pressure on your kid. It may be good for an the profession like a medicine or an engineering, as the same as you said. But as we all are saying that design need an open mind, creativity, where it is always better not to put all such kind of a pressure. So my advice is that, of course, you are investing, please don't put pressure to your child about the placement, ROI and all. Let them find what they need. That's what Satya was talking about. Let them just talk to your child and saying that what you want once you have completed your graduation. They may say that I don't want to continue in the field. They may want to go into some other field. The engineers nowadays, they are going into what? Stand-up comedy, or even doing bakery jobs. They don't know, that might be your passion. But as a parent, you are saying that, okay, Sharma ji ka beti hai, they are going to design, let's go into design. No, don't put the pressure. So my advice to you, I'm not a right person to advise you, but my suggestion is that please don't consider and that educational expenses as an investment like the way you investing in a building X or Y. So that's my humble request. Thank you.
Send them on a backpack trip. Contact me, I'll help you do that.
Can I please add up to something what
We
she
will- we-
asked?
we will,
Actually, she was talking about ROIs, and the director of SIT told about some. Correct. See,
Yeah, yeah.
even I think about it. No, even I think about it. See, one of the suggestion is that, say, sometimes our children.
Rigved has some point, and I think we'll close after that.
I have one point that ROI, when you say, I very much agree with my colleague here. Parents should teach their wards, uh, get ROI when you're studying. Okay, every class. Many times we don't see the creative questions being raised by students. The faculty, it's not a monologue, it is a interaction that should happen. And we always find some kids who are asking question, they wonderfully do well, and they are the people who will be visible in the future. Others, 80% of them, they don't ask any question. They copy things, no novelty, right? Me too kind of thing. So again,
think,
I'll
sir, this is, I mean, I understand your point, but this is going somewhere else. As parents, we are not asking for ROI. She never used that word, right?
No,
We are asking as
heard-
an industry, do you have a data? Do you have a report that says that this is what we are charging, this is what we are producing, and this is how industry is consuming today, and it is going to consume in next 5 years. So we are not asking you any question. We are saying that as a design education industry, do you have an official report? Just give us that. We are not asking. We are not asking any question. We're saying if you are in that field, tell us that so that we can make better decisions. And we agree with everything that you said. That we are not trying to put any pressure. We don't want them.
So I would like
We
to-
don't want job guarantee.
So
don't be anecdotal for every question that parents are answering.
True. No, we agree. So see, the thing is, as far as the reports are concerned, there are Deloitte, KPMG, and all, like, they published a lot of state of the art reports. It will be on technology, on a field, in education also. As and when some of the digitization is taking away some of the jobs, new jobs are getting created. Okay, new skills are being sought for. And I think thinking is one which cannot be replaced by AI also. Okay, so there are new fields which are going to come, and designers are the ones who are trained to pick up those. They can cope up with any kind of chaos, and because design is something about order and chaos, and that way I think any company would be looking forward to hire a designer in future. And out of many careers, what you see, one of them is about critical thinking. They're not saying that designers, industrial designers, product designers, like that. There are life skills what people are listing, and most of it will be with designers. Hope it will.
Good. Good.
I
think
I'll answer that question.
Reports we need to see.
Yeah. So just for the benefit of the parents, I agree what Rigved just mentioned. I'll give you a rough feel कि अगर product design आपके बच्चे करते हैं BDES. Okay, I'm just talking about BDES right now because I don't see anybody who is an MDES aspirant. Okay, so BDES aspirant, if you are doing a product design course in a institute worth 5 lakh fee, let's take that as a benchmark. Correct. So 20 lakhs is what you're spending on your 4 years of education. I'm not considering kapde latte, travel, वगैरह. Whatever is the tuition fee, 5 लाख का जो कोर्स है, 20 लाख रुपए लगते हैं. Let's be very true with numbers, correct? For a product design student who pass out after 4 years, I'll repeat very categorically, in the top 25 to 30% of the students in that particular school, okay, that student in product design should get a job worth 25,000 rupees to start off with. A UX person will get a job of 60,000 to start off with. These two things I just give you as an example. Graphic design, anywhere between 20 to 30,000 is what a bachelor's student will get. Only 20 to 30 top students of that particular institute. They also will aspire after 1 or 2 years to do masters. So if you're looking at an ROI specifically for bachelors, the ROI doesn't come, because in today's world, you cannot only stick with bachelors. So from that standpoint, you can calculate if that student doesn't do masters and continues to do job with a 25,000 rupees salary as a product designer, that's what it starts off with, roughly. Okay, so there are some numbers. There's unfortunately this particular entire field is not as structured as engineering as of now. All of us are trying to do that. That's the reason why all of us are here in front of you, because we want the government to take notice that there's a field which is upcoming. Please give due credit so that we have all these reports, and as sir was saying, these reports in place. Some efforts have been done, but it is not very substantial. That's the truth as of now. But these numbers fairly are representative of what these two fields. I'm just taking two extremes. UX is what is the topmost, 65,000, in some cases 1 lakh. But that is, don't take that as a benchmark, because that happens, there's a spike. If Microsoft hires in a particular, because there's a project, so Microsoft will give even 2 lakhs for a bachelor student. That has happened, but that is a one-off spike. So don't consider that as a ROI reference. Okay, over to you, Yogesh.
Okay, great. Thanks. I think it's been a very long panel discussion. I really appreciate all of you being here and sharing things. And it will be good for all of you to visit their stalls, where you'll get more information about the institute, and feel free to talk to them beyond the session as well. And thanks a lot. And it's good to have all of you participate in this. Yeah, and there is a band by the UPS students. So the design students don't just go there and draw and sketch and make model. They are also having fun. And there's a band by the UPS students which have come all the way from Dehradun. So let's enjoy and cheer them up.